but I also will be right back because we gotta roll the ads. You know we gotta roll the ads. 3 minutes, and then we get a full uninterrupted hour if I make it an hour. And also, I feel like I've been having connection issues today with my internet, so we'll see if we even stay connected for the stream. So, be right back. Okay, we're on. I'm here with the gang and my lovely lurkers. So, last stream was, in my opinion, humble opinion, loved it. Felt like this is me again. Very controversial, though. Yeah, I said some things that I should regret. I should regret. But here we are, back at it, hoping to get deep again. Because it's been a minute. It's been a lot of like goofy surface level kid pics, whatever on here. And it was almost 2 weeks ago now, but last stream was like getting back into spiritual discussions and modern principles. So that was exciting for me to feel like like I was opening up again and like actually had shit to say. Oh my god, my baby's here. I almost said bestie and I was like, that's baby. Oh my god, I always do this. It's messed up. Okay, what did I do? Oh, god damn it, what the heck did I do? Oh, that's what I did. Okay. I always click the profile and then that chat window isn't big enough to exit out of the pop-up. Okay, back on track. Why is the, never mind, I almost said something really dumb. So it says I have excellent connection, which is good because I was struggling with it on my other devices. But yeah, I am starting the stream really late. I did not plug my laptop in, so I'm kind of like, oh my god, that was so nice. You should stream though, actually, on Twitch, because there's a music category. You can like make music on there, or you can like perform music on there. That would be really cool. I'm just saying. I have hopped on there a few times, but I don't really make music like that. Sometimes I go on there just to discuss music and play my kalimba, which is like which I haven't played probably since my last stream. I was in the habit of playing it every day because it's just soothing. And then we were talking about making a track. Oh my god, girl, I thought she was in bed. Oh, welcome. I was talking about making like a loop or long kalimba track so I could play it in the background of my streams so that it was like no copyright infringement and still having music. But my microphone, I need a new cable for it. And I just forget this shit. As soon as I get off stream, it's all gone. And I do think there is a chance that maybe I have ADHD. And I know everybody says that. Everybody says that. And part of the reason we all feel like we have ADHD is because the phones are wrecking our attention span. Like, duh, you get a text and you check it, you go on social media and you scroll every fucking 15 to 30 seconds, you know? So like, duh, we all feel like we can't fucking focus and have no attention span. Like, they ruined it. That was literally the point. So sure, I think it's very cliche and overused for people to say, I don't think I have ADHD. But I do notice the way stimulants don't affect me. That's a big cue that I like. Earlier today, I had 4 shots of espresso, and I sat on the couch and told my best friend, like, I'm tired. I kind of want to take a nap. And it's like, girl, what? You just had 4? The fuck? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And the only time I can really like feel caffeine is if I haven't eaten anything and I drink it on an empty stomach. I might get the shakes, but it does not wake my mind up at all. Granted, I have been drinking coffee since I was like 3 years old. So I get that actually it might be an immunity. But you can ask Danny Phantom. I often cannot get through a task, a story, anything linear. It's like, which again, ADHD. But I don't know. I do think I've always been this way. And I also have always been into overstimulating. I would like try to be doing schoolwork and I'd have to like have something on the TV and playing off my laptop and a lot of bright lights. Like I love natural lighting. So it would be like opening all the curtains and making sure it was really fucking bright in there. That kind of thing. And I have like no social battery and I feel like that's not ADHD. I feel like ADHD people are like, fuck, I need to like chill out and not talk to anyone. But I'm like, what's next? Where are we going? Who wants to hang out? That's why, even though I was on the phone for over 3 hours today, and then I hung out with a friend for 3 hours, I still came on here and was like, let me just keep talking. Okay, let's just keep it going, keep socializing. I'm not sure if that's an ADHD thing, but it is a me thing. I have no limits on my social battery. I'm like, okay. And yeah, it might be because I spent a lot of time alone, but also I didn't spend any time alone in the last 5 days until today. And then I still was only alone half the day. So it's just kind of like one of those things. So last stream before last, we talked about the kalimba thing. My mic needs a new cable. I haven't bought the new cable yet. I forget. And I also don't have it on me. So I have to like go where it is, get the type of cable. I don't know what type of cable it is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like 48. It was like over 12 hours for 2 days. So it was like 48 hours and then like 30 plus of those hours were together, Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then I come home and I'm like, what's next? What can I do? And most people are like, let me just recharge. Not me. Not me. I'm like, oh, you want to go out? Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a social battery. But the cable is not USB. It's like kind of weird. One end is USB, but the one that goes into the mic, actually, Akachi, you might know what I'm talking about. It's like the kind that looks like this, and it goes in the Yeti. I don't know. I gotta replace it, but I never think about it when I actually am in front of the mic. And then I remember once I get on stream, but again, I don't have the mic with me. Yeah, so I never think to replace it. And then my neighbor got some podcasting equipment. I think we talked about this on the last stream. We haven't really totally figured out how to use it. It's like a soundboard. And it does record, but I think it's for the phone. I'm not trying to record on my phone, I'm trying to record on my laptop. You know what I mean? So I looked at it one night and then didn't touch it again. And then she took it back so that she could look at it. And then she was out of town. I was gone. We haven't gotten around to it yet because so dumb. But again, Kachi, what's going on there. So the way the soundboard was, it was kind of like you could plug it into your laptop to charge, but you couldn't plug it in to record it. I don't know. It is Chinese. She got it real cheap. It's Chinese. So the instructions is just pictures. And it's like points two things in the picture and says what it is. But there's no instructions of like, this is how you do it, this is how you hook it up. There's no software that it is compatible with. So I look at it and I'm like, I have no fucking idea. So I should go on YouTube, look at YouTube, figure it out. I haven't done it yet. I'm sorry. I only think of these things once I'm actually streaming. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that. And then a week goes by and I come back on the stream and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I was gonna do that. Cool. How helpful. But yeah. So hopefully we get that up and going. But in the meantime, this is where we're at. I also was trying to recreate the lighting that I had last time. That looks good. If I lean forward like this, it doesn't look as good, but if I'm sitting back, it looks good. However, when I sit back, I don't know how well y'all can hear me, because it's just the internal microphone. But whatever. Nobody's really complained about it. They complained more about the microphone. That's why I kind of ditched it. But okay, cool. So I'll try to sit. But then I get intense and I want to talk to you guys. Yeah. So we also talked about Be Here Now. I was getting really fucking pissed about that actually. And I was like, I have to reread the introduction because I swear to God there was a piece of information in there that I can't find from skimming through the pages and can't find on the internet. And I'm like, I swear I read this. And then I was like, well, I could just watch my old streams of me reading it, and then I don't have to read it again. I can just listen to myself read it and get the discussion where it happened. But I also didn't do that. Yeah. Again, that's kind of why I brought up the ADHD, because I'm like, I just like, out of sight, out of mind. I forget. Thank you. I love this shirt. I wore this because I saw, well, you know, reminded me of her bucket hat. So I was like, hell yeah. I actually put it on before she hit me up, which is even weirder. Or maybe I was thinking about wearing it and she hit me up, so I decided to wear it. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I thought this was a cute look. Got the little butterflies in the hair. So I was like, I don't want this look to go to waste. I have to stream. I have to immortalize it on the internet. You know? Come on. So, didn't figure out the mic, didn't record the kalimba, didn't read Be Here Now. 0-3. Cool. So, moving completely on, I titled this stream, It's ILLY Twitch, because, quite frankly, they wouldn't let me say bitch. Which is crazy, because it's like, can I not cuss on stream? Where's the censorship at? Because I know on like TikTok, they'll like take your shit down if you say the wrong thing. And that's how we got like TikTok language of like saying, I don't want to be trigger warning, saying things like rape and unalive came from censorship, right? And so I'm like, am I shadow banned on Twitch and I don't know it? I don't know. I wouldn't know, right? Because it's not like I have like a huge following or high views ever. So it's not like it went down. It's just like, is that why it doesn't go up? Is because I cuss and stuff? I'm not sure. But they wouldn't let me put bitch in the title, even when I spelled it with an X instead of an I, like I did in my horoscopes today. So I thought that was like really odd, kind of. And so I was like, well, Twitch rhymes with bitch, and that's actually perfect. It's ILLY Twitch. And the reason that I made that the title is because I want to talk about Britney Spears so bad. I need a book club ASAP. Exactly. And we're just freely saying bitches, so like, what difference does it make? It's just bitch, 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 like, but I can't put it in the title. Well, people should know what they're signing up for. They should know, like, oh, there's cussing on this fucking channel. Like, stupid. Anyway, Britney Spears. I finished The Woman in Me last week. And oh my God, I cried so much. I don't think a book has made me cry like that since I read The Bell Jar. And half the reason The Bell Jar is so sad is because one, it's relatable, and two, you just know that Sylvia Plath put her fucking head in the oven. So that's not a spoiler alert, by the way. Sylvia Plath is the author, and that's what happened to her in real life. Which I also, it's deemed a suicide, but she was going through a very tumultuous marriage that was leading to divorce, but divorce was not very common or popular back in the day, and women didn't fully have rights yet. However, her husband was having an affair with another woman and wanted to marry the other woman, and that's kind of how he left Sylvia. And I do wonder why no one ever discusses the fact that that man probably held her fucking head in the oven. No one. No one. I have never heard this theory before that he did it, even though it would make perfect sense because he left her and he wanted to get married and he did marry his mistress. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Yes, she was depressed and she talked about suicide and her depression and like not feeling good and hating her marriage and there was plenty of poetry and books and letters kind of like supporting the fact that it would have been suicide. But it is interesting that we can sit here and say this person didn't kill themselves. And I know it was the 60s, so it was like totally a different time. But even like retroactively, literally like all these years later, I have never heard anyone accuse that man of murder. Ever. Ever. And it's like, damn, do you realize how fucking crazy it would be? Because I think about it sometimes. I go to grab something out of an oven that's on, and I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Absolutely not. Like, never in a million fucking years would I ever do that or use that as my method. Right? Like, what? What? I'd rather. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say what I would rather do. And I get maybe she didn't have access to a gun or a razor blade or pills. But, like, of all things, I just can't imagine that being anyone's first choice. And I've never heard of anybody doing it ever since or before or again. So it's very interesting to me that no one talks about that possibly not being a fucking suicide. Hello? That man hated her, abused her, treated her so badly, and wanted to be with another woman and didn't want her to have her kids. So, like, the oven, and honestly, I don't know how it would really work, but I do feel like so many things, like you get to a certain point of pain or even inhaling fumes that you pass out, right? So realistically, if she put her own head in the oven, okay, she put her own head in the oven, would she have not passed out from the pain and therefore opened the oven and maybe not died? She not pass out from the gas of the gas oven and like if her head is here and the oven is only closed like this, then she would have done that. You feel me? Like, am I crazy for thinking about these things? Because it seems more likely that man was like this. And I don't know why literally no one talks about this. Ever. It just blows my mind because it's like, whose preferred method is that? Sure, Sylvia Plath. I guess. It just seems almost impossible. You know? And like, I don't know the details. Because again, it was the 60s. So like, I'm not sure how many details are out there, and I haven't really done the research because God forbid. Oh man. That's funny because that makes sense that you don't. But Sylvia Plath is like a poet, and she wrote a couple novels and had kids. And her method of suicide was putting her head in the oven. So that's why I'm like, it's kind of unrealistic. Like, it doesn't actually make sense unless the ovens were just different back then, which they were. But I don't think the oven door was that much different. If it's something's in the way and then you put weight on it, it's gonna fucking pop open, is it not? But maybe like being in front of it is enough to fucking kill you. I don't know. I just feel like I don't think it was super possible. I think he probably held the door closed. Personal opinion. But I don't know. So, Sylvia, if you out there, I heard you were racist, and that is not fucking cool. But I'm glad your husband died. So, R.I.P. to you, and not him, and maybe not you. So, yeah, yeah. So crazy, crazy. It's crazy. You want to talk about all these conspiracies of, oh, Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No one ever did it again. Oh, I wonder why. Because it's murder, right? Like, just saying. And they would have had to change something about the oven. Unless they did. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, maybe I'm underestimating the oven door, but it just seems like even a modern oven, like, again, if you put that kind of weight on it, it would just pop open. But I don't know, maybe they were just locked in before. I don't know. It just doesn't seem that plausible or possible. But I don't know. I wasn't there, and I'm not really trying to test it out, to be quite honest, because even having my head just in there to pull stuff out of the oven is too much for me. So I'm certainly not about to test out this, and then what? Oh, the door is stuck, and I fucking die like Sylvia Plath, and then everyone's like, I guess she proved it was a suicide. Not trying to do all that, but would love if the Mythbusters tried to do that. Hey, Dre. I am on a tangent about Sylvia Plath's death, if you just came in. And the only reason I brought up Sylvia Plath is because I wanted to talk about Britney Spears. And you're like, what does Sylvia Plath have to do with Britney Spears? And the thing is that I read the Britney Spears memoir, The Woman in Me, and I have not cried so much reading a book since I read The Bell Jar 2 years ago. And then I was like, half the reason The Bell Jar is so sad is because, one, it's relatable, and two, the way she died. And then I was like, you know what? It is weird the way she died, isn't it? And I think it was her husband, but it doesn't matter. They're all dead now. So, is what it is. This laptop situation did not last nearly as long as I thought it would, for no reason. I know that OBS kills the battery, but it died a lot faster than I thought. Let's see. Too bad I can never keep track of my fucking laptop charger. Here it is. I got Mary Poppins vibes for sure. Illy Poppins, if you will. Illy Poppins. Illy Poppins. Okay, it's plugged in. Locked and loaded. Yeah, so anyway, beyond the Sylvia Plath case, back to Britney. So I have not cried so hard since reading The Bell Jar. If you have not read The Bell Jar, it's so good, but I think you have to be a certain kind of person to really appreciate what she's saying, you know? I'll never forget, I think it was March 2024, I was reading the book and I was sitting on the porch, and I gasped so hard, crying, and my neighbor came out to check on me, and I was like, it's just this book, and she's like, okay, I hope you feel better. Like, what the fuck? So it was like, deep, deep pain. I don't know. Like, creatures is in, like, animals or people? Because living, none, I don't know, I would have bird wings for sure. I'd want to fly. And gills, so I could swim. But then, like, if I had gills, I'd be committed to the water. I would not want to live in the ocean. So, wings. Maybe a human and a bird or something. But not just any bird, because I can't have, like, rinky-dink wings to carry my giant human body. It would have to be, like, I don't know, who's got the biggest wingspan of all the birds. I don't think any of them really would be able to do 200 pounds, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I would. I would want the wings. That's it. I like being human because I like getting dressed up and wearing jewelry and doing my makeup and stuff. So, unless you mean like two people combo, I still don't know. Because I'm fine being myself in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, turtle seems like a weird choice because they're so slow and like vulnerable to an extent. Unless you're like a snapping turtle or something. Um, bear, you just want women to choose you. And wolf, I think would be cool. I love talking. I love music. I love living inside. I like don't think maybe like a house cat with wings. That would be crazy. I don't think anybody would let me in their house at that point. Um, LOL. Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I'm like really struggling to answer it actually. About the creature thing. If anyone else feels like chatting with us, curious about your answers as well, not just mine. Would love more ideas on that. But the Brittany memoir, um, I will say, Brittany is. I know sometimes I'm like really weird about my age, but then I'm not weird about my weight or anything. But Brittany's 10 years older than me. Okay, so you can choose human. And also, a velociraptor is not a living. You literally said living creatures. Velociraptors aren't living. Because, like, I was thinking that the only thing that would have wings that could carry a human would be a dinosaur, but you said living. You didn't say have lived or any creature that ever existed. You said living creatures. So, get your story straight, Dre. Get your story straight. But anyway, I am 10 years younger than Britney Spears. So, well, kind of. I think I'm a little younger than that because of our birthdays, but still. Um, she was 16 when her first album came out. So I was like 6 when her first album came out. It was, I think, the first album I owned. I'm pretty sure that I got it for Christmas. And then, like, the first album I purchased on my own was Paula Cole's This Fire, which came out in 1996. But oh, it's way worse than that. She honestly really wasn't groomed by Disney, if I'm being honest. In her retelling of it, she doesn't really go into her time on Disney at all. So that's even more interesting, right? Like the fuck. But I was 6, and I'm pretty sure I got that album for Christmas, and I first album I bought myself was Paula Cole. So those were like my two girls, and then Celine Dion. I bought that album that has "Treat Her Like a Lady" on it. I couldn't name any other tracks on that album. I could probably name only like 2 tracks on the Britney album. Probably just about every track of the Paula Cole album because I actually like got back into it in high school, and then could really only tell you one track. I don't even know if My Heart Will Go On is on that Celine album I'm talking about. But Treat Her Like a Lady. Treat her like a lady. It's Celine. Da, 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 da. Celine. I don't know what she's saying. Something about a hit and run. I don't know. What goes around comes around. Go, go. It's like very like not like any of her other music. It's such a crazy song because it's a Celine song. It would be totally normal if like any regular pop star listened or made it, but because she was so into the ballads and the like the songs you know by Celine Dion is basically her whole catalog, but that song was like she must have been mad at Renee. I'll tell you that. Or mad on behalf of one of her besties because that song is so good but so different. So that's the only song I remember on that album. But I also love Janis Joplin, but I got into her when I was older, you know. It never got into Paramore. It's just not my thing, and I just thought that Misery Business was just dumb. I don't want to get into it; it's offensive. But I do have like the utmost respect for Haley Williams for just always being 10 toes down with everything she does and everything that she's about, and not backing down or being afraid to say her opinions. See, I didn't like her live. That was part of the reason I never got into Paramore. She was at Work Tour. I think it was like 2008, and I thought that it was shit. But in retrospect, like it may have been the sound. Obviously, could have been an issue. But I also stopped liking Fall Out Boy that day because they also sucked live. And I was like, fuck this. I've been to so many concerts in my life. I actually did go to see Britney Spears in concert when I was in like third grade. That I guess I did have high standards for like live performances. And I do love to sing, and sometimes I sound like I did like you know, but then sometimes people hear me from the other room. They're like, "Was that you?" So I do have like a little bit of a high standard for like vocals. But yeah, no, I did not like Fall Out Boy. Did not like Fall Out Boy. On the other hand, never really got into Panic at the Disco. And then I saw Panic at the Disco live with my cousin, and I have never been more impressed with someone's live vocals as I was with Brendan Urie's. Not gonna lie, dude's a creep or whatever, but like, oh my god, I never heard anything like that before, and that concert was 10 years ago. Um, that man can sing like he can sing like one of the greats, you know. But then he is more true to himself and makes weirdo emo music. So like, good for him because he's doing what he likes or what he wants, instead of just being like a stadium arena vocalist on his own, independent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say he could have been a Beyonce, but a little bit I'm saying he could have been a Beyonce. Like, he's really fucking good. But he just chose to be Panic at the Disco. So it's interesting. Um, yeah, my first concert is when I was in the womb. So like, I've seen everybody, and I went to a bunch of festivals when I was like a teenager. So I've seen it. I've seen everybody. Um, Jay-Z also kind of sucked, but I took bad, and I was like falling asleep. So maybe it wasn't him. Peter Gabriel definitely comes to mind. String Cheese, um, some Flaming Lips concerts would have to go up there, but that's more of the experience. Same with String Cheese. I did see like most of these concerts sober, but Peter Gabriel. So he did this tour, and it was the So tour. So he has an album, I guess. He has an album called and the Gorillas. Oh, the Gorillas is definitely up there. Okay, so Peter Gabriel did the So tour album, So album tour. It was the 20th anniversary, 30th, holy fuck, 30th anniversary of his album So. And that's the one that has his biggest hits on it, like In Your Eyes and maybe just In Your Eyes, actually. I don't think Sledgehammer's on that album. Sledgehammer might be on that album. Sledgehammer's probably on that album. And it's cool. So he did this thing where like he may have had an opener. God, it was, I mean, obviously this was like 10 years ago. So it's like kind of hard to remember. But basically, I don't think he had an opener. And everybody came in to the concert, and it was at a basketball arena. Like, it was at the old Detroit basketball arena. And everyone came in, sat down. The house lights were on, so you could find your seat. And he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna practice." And so he's just doing a rehearsal, doing sound check in front of everyone with the lights on, like with sound fully on, and just talking about like this is how we practiced and this is what we did and this is what everybody did. And that was like literally like a 45-minute set of just like him fucking around, playing piano, talking with the house lights on. And it was like, what are you doing? So then he's like, okay, we're gonna start the show. We're gonna start the show now. Okay. And he plays the whole fucking album, right? Which is like, it's a crazy album because you have like In Your Eyes on there, but you also have like Milgram's 47. And so it's very all over the place. And that was super cool. And he obviously has like a bunch of featured artists with him because he has to have like people playing in his band and um, his backup vocals. And then there was features on the album that weren't there, obviously, unfortunately, because he has a song with Laurie Anderson on that album, and I fucking love her. And I feel like I'll probably never see her in concert, and it's like such a bummer. So I did see Lou Reed in concert, which that was her husband until he died. So at least I got to see him, but it's not the same as seeing like Laurie Anderson. Although Lou Reed is definitely like one of my favorites. So yeah. He plays the whole album, and then he played an entire set of songs after he played the rehearsal and the album, and then another set. So it was like a 3-hour long concert of just Peter Gabriel, and he's doing this every night in his 60s, 60s probably. Fucking crazy. So crazy. That was one of the coolest concerts ever. And then I saw him again in Denver the next year. Literally a year later. Oh, wait, no. No. Saw him in 2012 when he did that. Saw him again in 2016. That's what it was. It was 2012, 2016. And saw him in Denver. And he played almost all of my favorite songs by him. Not really, but he played some of my favorite songs by him. And he did this thing where he played the concert. Hey, Weird, how's it going? He played the concert with Sting. Okay. So he would play a song, and then Sting would play a song. And like, I really never got that into Sting or the Police or anything, but it was still really cool. And he's like a really fun kind of guy, you know? He seemed cool on there. Oh, damn, what is that? Yeah, you're right. I got you. Okay, thank you for that. That was a really good idea. I hope everybody drank water. So they went back and forth playing songs, playing their own songs, and then playing each other's songs, and then playing songs together. It was just so cool. It was like, do I care about Sting? No. Did it get me into Sting? No. But was it one of the best concerts I've ever seen just because 10 out of 10 creativity, 10 out of 10 ingenuity? Love that. Yeah, like I said, thank you. I really did need some water. It was just so cool. It was so cool. So Peter Gabriel, when you said like what was the best concert you've seen, Peter Gabriel is the first one that comes to mind because both of those concerts were just so cool and so different. And then like I said, Flaming Lips, you gotta give it up for them. Not every concert was great. I'm not gonna lie. Some of it, they like certain tours they did, certain stage setups they did, because I've seen them. I've seen them more times than I've seen any other band. It wasn't always great. We made it a good time, but it wasn't always great. But something about at least some of them were like really good. Um, Electric Worms was almost better than the Flaming Lips, but I might be biased on that, especially because it was like a very small venue and my friend was playing with them, so it's like whatever. You never see Flaming Lips in like in a room, you know. So that was Electric Worms was really cool, but they really like put it on. They put it on, and I do like their music enough. I liked it a lot at the time, and now I don't really like it as much. But there's certain songs or albums that are good. Embryonic to me is a no skip album. I listened to that album all the way through. Hit to Death in the Future had kind of a no skip album for the most part. Transmissions, basically a no skip album. Cloudsley's Metallic, I will listen to the whole thing, but I don't think it's a no skip album. I don't think it's really because some of the songs are straight up fucking irritating. And it's like you gotta listen to the whole piece, but also I don't want to listen to this. Like, you know, and I love Steven Draws. And it was sad to see him go. Not that I follow or pay attention anymore, but it was just like a lot of drama. I don't know what happened, but Steven Draws really like made the band, but also that is like when he joined is kind of when they got annoying. So in a pre-driven ambulance, I used to love that album, but now I put it on and I'm like, I don't know how much of this I can listen to, but also kind of a no skip album. However, you get into their later stuff. Soft Bulletin, only half of it's good. At War with the Mystics, only half of it's good. Yoshimi, sorry to say, but only half of it's good to me. I don't know. Zarika, who's fucking listening to Zarika? Like, really, though? I don't know. I don't know. Some people say, no, it's so good. It's so good. I don't, just don't care, you know? Um, Anything later than that, like Embryonic is 2009. So that, again, no skip album. The other night, I put it on to do the horse. I was like, I gotta focus. And I put on Embryonic and I got my shit done. And I was like, yeah, that's premium. But it's also weird. So when I say it's a no skip album, I don't think that it's a universal no skip album. Like, I don't think normal people would want to listen to it all the way through. It's also probably their longest album. But again, The Terror, I don't listen to anything off that album. I think it's not good. Um, Oxymelody, half the album's good. American Head, I listened to like once and thought there was one, maybe two good songs. So, kind of, eh. That's why I'm saying like some of their concerts are really good when they play certain songs and then others are not. The thing specifically with the Flaming Lips is that they are really annoying. Like they're really annoying. They're really annoying. And I, at the time of like going to their concerts and seeing them and being obsessed with them, didn't really understand or like recognize it. But grown men whining, right? And these super big busty pop songs and the overwhelmingly positive lyrics. It's annoying. I don't inherently hate that, but that's why I'm like, most of their albums are not no skip albums. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when I listen back to things that I once loved, I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is like irritating to me now. Um, sure, but this is, I'm not talking about modern music. I'm talking about music from 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Like even 10 years ago, you know? So, eh. But yeah, some of it still really good to me, but a lot of it I'm like, ugh, no, no, please no. Um, yeah. So, and it's not just them. I think it. What the fuck? Thanks. I think it's the bangs, but and just general style. I don't act my age, but yeah, I think that goes for a lot of bands, like Animal Collective. I love Animal Collective, but I know that shit is annoying because I've played it. I used to listen to it at work at one of the jobs I had, and my boss was like, "Are they called Animal Collective? Because it sounds like a bunch of animals dying." And I'm like, "I don't know. Actually, maybe. I don't know." Meriwether Post Pavilion, a no skip album. All their other albums, I don't think any of them would be considered a no skip album. But Meriwether Post Pavilion, very universally loved, very accepted, very not obviously it's not mainstream because it's Animal Collective, but like oh you missed the last stream because that shit was controversial, so controversial. But I hate AI. I am not the person to have that conversation with because fuck AI, fuck using AI. All my Google searches, which I shouldn't even be using Google, but my Google searches are whatever I need to know minus AI because I'm so against it. This Meta AI, don't use it. I'm not into AI. I absolutely do not think AI is the death of creatives because there are way more creatives not using AI than there are creatives using AI. And many of the people that use AI for creativity aren't actual creatives. So that's going to skew the data in a way, right? Where you're like, oh, death of creatives. Well, if there's 100 creatives and there's 100 people using AI, I would say 10 of the creatives are of the 100 people using AI, right? So 90% of creatives are not using AI. But 90% of people using AI are not creatives and still using it for creativity and art. So no, I don't think I don't think it's really gonna matter. I think it's going to, if anything, it's gonna destroy like Hollywood because that's who is using it, right? They're like, we're gonna come out with an all AI movie and we're making AI actresses, and people don't like it. It's bad enough that these actors and actresses are getting so much fucking work done. Yeah, exactly. When you're a creative person, you feel driven to do so. If your creativity is prompting, like you're not a creative, period. Um, and we're gonna run out of water, so you're not gonna be able to use AI, right? Like, gonna go out of style eventually. It's way too commonplace though, and it's very bizarre that they're pushing it. But also, if you've ever seen The Matrix, it's really not that bizarre. Like, if you haven't seen The Matrix, watch it and you'll understand why people are using AI or pushing AI, I should say. And if you have seen The Matrix, watch it again because it's so much crazier now than it was when it came out 30 years ago, right? I don't want to like spoil it too much because a lot of people don't really know. I don't think like the extent of the plot, right, of the Matrix. Um, they just know the Matrix, right? Like I don't know. Yeah, yeah. You can't really watch it on anything. You have to buy it on a few different platforms, which is also funny. That's funny. Um, it's also funny that it's not available on any platforms because they don't want people to watch it because it's become way too fucking real. And I think that people get a little tripped up on like the Matrix factor, but like talking about the plot, not necessarily just whatever. There's like the whole spiritual aspect of the Matrix and the vision of God, right? Where there's like a sort of human matrix, but what's concerning is the rise of the technology becoming more like the Matrix. I didn't know that. It's also just like an allegory for being trans, right? So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's just become a little too real. Where it's like, why do they want us using AI? That's crazy. But whatever. Yeah, so AI music also sucks. AI art sucks. AI posters and book covers and writing, it all sucks. And people know it sucks. And some people aren't as good at spotting AI, but once you know its patterns and you recognize its tints and its verbiage, and it's like, yeah, this is trash. And then sometimes it's like, I don't know. I think a lot of modern music isn't that good, to be honest, and I don't know some of these people. And I'm not really on TikTok anymore. So sometimes I hear something, I'm like, what is this? And it might be a human. And I just don't like it. But sometimes it's AI where I hear it, I'm like, oh, and then it's like, oh, this is AI. Yeah, but it's not good. It's not good. You have to remember, it's not good. It may sound good in the moment because wow, they did it in 1 to 2 minutes, but like that's just the proof that it's not good if you're rushing the process. So, and water bankruptcy, not good, not good. Water deficit, not good. And I really truly don't understand it. I get that like AI uses a certain amount of water per search per command, but I don't understand why we're wasting so much of that water, because why can't it be in a closed loop? They're like, it's using gallons and gallons of fresh water every day. Why? Can you not use salt water for that shit? Can you not use recycled water for that shit? If it's cooling down the generator, then why can't that water just cycle back through and cool it down again? Is the water too hot? Can you cool the water down? Like, I really don't understand it. I also, why would it be? Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying. I'm not even trying to be rude, but if there is billions of dollars invested in AI and there is a push on Google, on Meta, on in hospitals, in schools, there's university kids, right, who are forced to use AI in their college courses. Fucking why? We would have gotten expelled if we tried to use AI back in the day, or even if they weren't told to use AI and they tried to use AI, they'd be expelled for it because it's plagiarism, right? So if there is this push from every outlet, every website, every app, every institution wants you to use AI, why would there be anti-AI propaganda? Ask yourself that. Genuinely ask yourself that. Why would there be anti-AI propaganda? There wouldn't be. There isn't. That's what's happening. That's what's happening, right? It's not propaganda. The propaganda is that AI is going to replace us and be so good and make everything better and easier and be the next big thing and take us to new creative levels and help us with it. That's the propaganda. You know what I mean? Because they invested billions of dollars in it. So just want you to think twice about what you're saying or proposing when you say that. Right? Also, very trackable data outside of the water, because again, I don't understand the water and why it's not on a closed loop and why they have to use fresh water. Other than refer yourself back to the Matrix. Sorry, we already talked about that. besides the water, the chemical overflow of these data centers has affected the soil in the places that it is built, right? It is preventing crops from growing. It is preventing even grass from growing. Like, it's contaminating the water in these areas that they're built, right? And we know this because the citizens of those places are telling us their water pressure is going down, and what else? Their electric bills are getting higher, 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 higher. And there's no explanation for it. The charges are increased, but how to say this? The wattage they're using is increasing, but the price per wattage is not increasing. So it's not like a price hike, it's a usage hike. And that usage is coming from the data centers. So if these are billion-dollar corporations and literal billionaires investing in this technology, why are ordinary people footing the fucking bill? Why are they footing the bill? You had all this money to build a data center. You had all this money to spend millions of dollars on the land that it's on and buying people out of their properties. Why do we have to pay extra money for it to be there? You can afford that light bill. You can afford it. So what propaganda exactly do you think this is, where it's ordinary people coming to the news saying, my bills are high, my water's contaminated, I can't fucking shower? That's not propaganda. You need to be able to spot propaganda when you see it. Saying AI is going to take over the music industry is propaganda. They actually have clean water for the first time in almost 20 years, just recently. I don't know what happened or what was going on, but they just got their water back. They just got their water back. And yeah, Nestle is trash. Don't buy Nestle. Don't use AI. Not for an experiment, not as a joke, not to prove a point, just stop using it. Like I said, every Google search minus AI, right? Like, there are ways, reject that shit. If you can turn it off, some apps and websites are having a feature where you can turn it off. Turn it off, Yeah, it's crazy. Think about the Great Lakes. Nestle pays 43 cents a gallon for water out of the fresh lakes. We don't even pay that little for the water that is in our states that border the Great Lakes. Like, that's crazy. So that was already a problem. That's been a problem for years. And now they actually want to build data centers here. Okay, I have to roll ads. So let's take a breather. And when we come back, let's fucking talk about Britney Spears, bro. Oh my God, let's talk about Britney Spears. Okay, 3 minutes. We'll be right back. do the BRB because it's good to get. I usually tell people, get up, grab a snack, have a smoke, get a drink, you know, do what you gotta do. Sometimes I just say, here, text my friends, um, whatever, but sometimes I also need to like get up and do things. So, yeah. AI fucking sucks. It should be the least of our concerns, but it's not. Um, I also should watch my motherfucking mouth on Bozo's platform, is the thing. Crazy, but true. I don't know where else I could stream. There was that, I don't remember, I think it was called Kick, but it had nothing to do with that messaging app. Something like that. And it was like a Twitch alternative, but there was something that I didn't have, so I couldn't use it, but I don't even know if it still exists anymore, but not very many good alternatives to stream. And I like my Twitch fam. Like I like the people I've met on here, and I don't stream often enough to like see them all the time. So I also don't know that like I don't know. I guess put it in the bio, but I don't think they're just checking. I don't understand Discord, to be honest, and also I don't think you can like stream on Discord as much as you can do the voice thing, right? Like that's my understanding of it. I don't know. Also, Discord, Bill hates, so it's not really any better. And I don't think you can monetize on Discord. No offense to anyone. I'm not doing this for money, but it is a nice bonus, right? Yeah. I don't think all 460 people on here are gonna like switch to Discord though. Just as a thought. Not that they all watch my stream anyway, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So, right. Not that it's a goal or I really make any money off of it now. I used to make money off of it when I had higher views, more subscribers, longer streams and stuff, but now it's more of a I don't want to say a hobby. It's just socialization. Like I said, I can be a little intense in person, and I try to keep it light when I'm out in social situations. So I get to come on here and speak my real mind, kind of. I don't care. I don't care. Um, Again, I'm not really making money on here anymore. It's mostly just for fun. Um, if you can call it fun. Now I have so much fun, but let me get into these really intense conversations. But yeah, I do feel like censorship across the board is people are cracking down and they're paying more attention, and I do worry more. Like when I was streaming regularly every day 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I never once worried about what I said online. I would make jokes about being on a list, but that was like 10 years before that. I was like, I'm probably on a list. I never felt like it would really matter. But, you know, for obvious reasons, things have changed, and it does seem like it matters more now. Like, you do have to watch what you say. They do not like adversaries, period. And they never really did, but they also like didn't really do anything about it at the same time. So sometimes I get a little too into things, like even the AI conversation. Very not good for people who have invested in it who might own this platform, right? But either way, that's kind of the point also, is to be able to have these conversations. And you know, we're not organizing or anything. We're not. We're all in different places. There's no plan. It's just more to have the discussion and let people share the ideas and open up to new conversations and be aware of things, even if we're not doing anything about them. So, um, I also do think a lot about like keyboard warrior, social justice activist, or whatever the hell, keyboard warrior, right? Social, what is the other one? Social justice warrior. Um, I do think, and I don't think of myself this way because I don't do enough, but I do follow some creators on other platforms that do. Where I don't think keyboard warrior or social justice warrior in terms of the internet is really an insult anymore, because people are risking their lives and their careers and everything they fucking have to make politically charged content. Period. I've said this on here before, and again, I'm not really including myself in that, because I am not really doing anything, and some of the creators that I'm thinking of off the top of my head are doing things in real life. But there's one guy, we talked about him before, and I don't know if I should really keep talking about him, but he makes skits. He makes like, um, no, see, I disagree. I don't think that villains need help vilifying themselves. I think it's pretty obvious if you're like a warmonger or a child predator, like nobody needs to vilify you. You're a villain. Like that's pretty much case in point, you know. Um, but I do. There's this guy who makes like the best skits. They're so crazy and in depth, and it's just him. And they're very fast paced, and he puts a lot of information in every video that he makes. And so, like, sure, he's not out on the streets doing anything, but he again is literally risking his life by saying some of the things that he's saying in these videos, where it's like he's saying stuff I didn't even know, didn't even think of, didn't put together, would never say, right? So I just think that those insults are so much more meaningless now because of the level that some of these people are on, where it's like, yo, like they would really you for that, probably in a not so distant future, quite frankly. What do you think? Um, it's crazy, so crazy. And I think that there's another creator who also, he goes and protests in real life, and like the skits are the protests where they like pretend like, no, no, my Venus is in Aries, and I can't think of any other fire in my chart. That's it. I think. Yeah. No, no, no. He kind of like shows up to different, like there's a group of them. They show up to these events and they pretend like they're really into like, whatever's going on. Like, yeah, this is great, and then they just start talking shit and disrupting, and they're content creators. They're filming all of this and putting it on fucking line. And all right, well, I gotta be honest, I am too. um, that again is a little bit more beyond keyboard, right? And making videos is also more, not necessarily a keyboard, but you get what I'm saying. Where I think that just trying to say online activism doesn't count as real activism is getting further and further from the truth because of censorship. You know, it wasn't a big deal to say this stuff 3 years ago. It's a way bigger deal to say it now. So that's just my opinion about that. Um, and we're not at the point where these people are like, yeah, exactly. Most people are online. Many people have millions of followers, and they don't say shit. And they don't say shit because they don't want to ruin their brand, lose their brand deals, get demonetized. Like they care way too much. So if somebody gets to that level and they do say the shit, they do risk losing it all. And I'm not even talking like Bella Hadid is adorable to me, and she is quite vocal about how she feels politically, but she's not like making the same type of content that these other creators I'm talking about are making, but she also says things here and there. I respect it, but I don't think she's like an activist for it. But she has walked in the streets with protesters wearing her kofia, where it's like, yeah, she's a real one. I don't think she would consider herself an activist, but in a way, she is kind of, you know. But she's not as strong of an example as these other accounts I'm talking about. I don't know their names off the top of my head, but I don't know if I should even say because then, not good. But yeah, it's interesting, and they do want to keep us inside too, and it's really funny because I do end up uploading all of my streams to YouTube. So even if I don't get flagged on Twitch, there's always a chance I can get flagged on YouTube. And YouTube has more recently just swiped whole accounts. No flags, no warnings, just like it never existed. And I worry about that because this is like all my content that I ever made is on YouTube. I used to do weekly tarot videos. I would hate for them to disappear. Every stream that I've ever done, which is, I think I'm at almost 500 streams on Twitch, would be gone in an instant. Yeah, I think everyone but the wealthy does. I don't think any poor people are like, I love what they're doing now with their money. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's not good. So I think speaking out against them and actually saying shit, I respect it more now. Whereas before it was very commonplace and didn't matter and nobody cared. Because one, social media wasn't monetized. Two, we still had freedom of speech. Three, we were still experimenting with the internet. Nowadays, it means a lot more and you see a lot less people doing it, quite frankly. So, I'm just saying. It's going to come to a point, they're going to probably look at our histories on our accounts, and I'm going to be one of the first ones. You know what I mean? And you just have to know that going into it and doing it. But it's, I guess I'm just too empathetic to not say anything, So I try not to use certain words. I try to allude to things more than actually straight up say them. But you can just go through my threads likes and see exactly how I feel. So even if I didn't speak up or say anything, like I probably shouldn't have fucking liked all those tweets, I did anyway, because it's hard to not do it. So everything is a reflection of us. We're all fucked or we're not, that's just me. It's just my opinion. Yeah, it's gotten, well, that's what I'm saying. I never fucking gave a shit before. And all of a sudden I do now. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, I was shitting on Siddhartha last week, so I get canceled by everyone. It's not even about getting canceled. It's not even about having a filter. I'm filtering for Gloria, which is a nickname for someone important. Big thing, We made that nickname up a long time ago because we used to joke about getting put on a list. And I don't think we ever really were serious about it. But now it's pretty fucking serious. So I censor myself for Gloria. I don't censor myself for Twitch. I don't censor myself for followers. I don't censor myself to not be canceled. I censor myself for Gloria. So that's what makes it crazy. That's what makes it crazy. Yeah, but yeah, so is what it is. But okay, actually, since we're talking about this, I'm starting to get tired because it's late as fuck, and I can't believe I've been streaming for over an hour, and I gotta go to bed soon. Yeah, you missed it. We came up with this code name for this thing, the big thing, the big thing that every country has. We call it Gloria, so that we don't get flagged every time we criticize the Gloria. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Gloria. And then someone in my chat will say certain things, and I'm like, yo, not here. Do not say that. Yeah, we all know who you're talking about. Yeah, we all hate them. But don't say that. And I honestly should put it on my blocked words list because that shit gets you flagged faster than anything else. I can literally talk about damn near anything, you know? And this another person that I think of when we talk about like social justice warrior, keyboard warrior, whatever. I think it was Bailey Sarin, who I don't really. No, bigger than that, bigger than that, bigger than that. Gloria, Gloria, where the king lives. Gloria, you know what I mean? Bailey Sarin does those makeup and true crime podcasts, and I'm not into true crime. I really have strong feelings about it. Um, Not into it. Never watched her videos. Never listened to her stuff. But the other day, a couple weeks ago actually, she had made a video, 30-minute long video, stopping what she was doing, not doing makeup, not telling stories, breaking the fuck down about the files. And I was like, damn girl, hell yeah. Because if they want to take you out, they will. If they want to ruin your life, your career, and destroy all your content, they will. And she still risked it all for that, just to have that conversation with her followers and her viewers, and to express genuinely how she was feeling. So I think a lot of people are too empathetic to not do that, and the people who don't say anything about anything that goes on literally lack empathy. Like there's no other way of looking at it. They lack empathy. Um, they are very selfish, you know, to not address these elephants in every room. There's a whole goddamn jungle. And what's funny is they're saying the war is the distraction. Girl, people are dying. People are literally dying, dude. You're not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that's a distraction. Fuck you. Fuck you. This is real life. This is people's lives being destroyed, being taken. Like, hello. I agree with what you're saying. Um, where at the same time we need to have them happening simultaneously where like they are, I don't know. There is no point in discussing those files if there's no action being taken, right? Companies are not being shut down, people are not being arrested, nobody's getting impeached, nothing's happening, right? Um, so continuously talking about them is doing nothing, right? On a Gloria level. You getting that now? From the Gloria perspective. The everyday common person, they're freaked out, they're paranoid, crying, and empathetic, sure. But from the larger standpoint, talking about them's not doing anything. So, talking about war, they're like basically admitting to everything they were doing by continuing to do it on a larger scale. Child sacrifice, straight up. That's why they did what they did. You know? In You know what I'm saying? Like that's why they chose the place that they chose a week ago. Because it's child sacrificing. They've always done it, they'll always do it. They'll find a way. It may not be on a personal level. They're just expanding. They're growing. They're doing it. Let's not do that. Get what I'm saying? There's certain words you don't say on the fucking channel. You're gonna get us flagged. We have to be able to talk to each other. We want to be able to communicate, right? We don't want to getting taken away. We don't want the channel getting taken down. I gotta block some words. I have like slurs as blocked words where if somebody says them, they come up as stars. I need to do that with more words, actually. I've never believed in elections, to be honest. I just think it's bullshit, especially the big one, the main one. It's bullshit. It doesn't change a goddamn thing. And there is no such thing as a lesser of two evils. They're just evil. Like, hello, this isn't a deal breaker for you? How? Well, as long as she doesn't. What? Do you hear yourselves? That's crazy. Agreed. I stopped smoking weed a couple years ago because I got too high and I got paranoid about things. And I was so scared. It wasn't even just paranoia, I was fucking scared. Like psychosis scared. And then every time I would hit a joint, I would get in that same mode of panic. And I was like, all right, I'm done smoking weed. And what was so funny is that, like you said, it really wasn't paranoia. It was very plausible situations that could and are unfolding. But I just couldn't handle it when I was high. And my mental health is way better without it. And I think more people should quit, to be honest. And that's coming from a day one stoner. I smoked weed like every day for almost 15 years. I smoked for 15 years. I had phases where I didn't smoke every day. But in those last years leading up to me quitting, I smoked every day. And I kind of reduced my intake to being like just a little bit at night every day. But months before that, it was wake up, smoke, get ready, smoke, clean house, smoke, leave the house, smoke, go to work, smoke, go to the function, smoke, smoke at the function, smoke at work, smoke everywhere. I just feel way better without it, surprisingly enough. And a lot of people would quit smoking weed and be like, I feel so motivated and energized and clear-headed and I sleep better and I dream. And I don't get any of that. I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel more motivated. If anything, I feel less motivated. I don't feel more energetic. I sleep way more now that I don't smoke weed than when I did smoke weed. Clear-headed? No, not really. Like, I don't get any of those kind of side effects. But I do not have major mood swings. I do not get irrationally angry. I do not have grandiose thoughts. My mental health is better. That's the only real difference that I notice from not smoking weed, is that my mental health is better. And the crazy thing is, the reason I smoked as much weed as I smoked is because it helped my mood swings. It made me feel better. It was my medication. That's what I told myself. That's what I believed. Because it'd be like, I'm freaking out. I need to smoke. And then I would calm down. I can't sleep. I need to smoke. And then I'd go to bed. I can't focus. I need to smoke. And then I'd zone in. Okay? But the only reason the weed helped me do those things like get focused and fall asleep and calm down, is because my body was reacting to not having the weed. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't smoke, I would never feel the agitation that comes from coming down. If I didn't train myself to use weed to do things, I wouldn't have focus problems. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I will say I started drinking a lot more though. I really never drank. I would have like a drink or two, or like have one night of drinking a month kind of thing. And now I drink very casually and a lot more often. But for me, drinking doesn't really affect my mind. You think weed is great, but when was the last time you didn't smoke? It's crazy, like it's crazy. I don't know. I used to think weed was great too. I used to love it. I used to imagine myself smoking for the rest of my life. And then I quit, and I was like, I can't believe I was even doing that. I literally can't believe I was doing that. And I don't know, you've been following for a while. Like, I know I've talked to you over the years. I used to get on here and hit the ball on stream and just be smoking and smoking while I'm doing exactly what I'm doing now. I don't find alcohol or nicotine to be addictive at all. 2 years. So you kind of weren't around. I think I didn't realize it was that recent. 2 years and 8 months would be 2023. Yeah, so I was probably still smoking a little bit, but I actually don't think, I think you missed it. I would just be on here again with the bong and be like, oh, time to smoke, time to smoke, time to smoke. I'm about to do this. Let's smoke. Gonna do this. Let's smoke. And it's crazy. Like, that was just a few years ago. You know what I mean? So, I don't find alcohol or nicotine to be addictive. I find weed to be very addictive. And I think it's like the biggest lie that we tell ourselves is that weed isn't addictive. And I think back in the day, weed probably wasn't addictive because it was just like ragweed that you'd grow outside, you know? But now it's like designer weed, and the carts are 98% THC, and they fucking up the, what are they called, turpentines and everything in the weed, and it's like, they made it drugs. They made it drugs. And now we're doing drugs. Like, yeah, back in the day, I think the reason that people have the perception that weed's not addictive is because they were smoking different weed. It was different fucking weed. Dabs, no questions asked, that's a drug. Because the thing is, everyone's argument is like, weed is a plant, not a drug. True. So when you turn the weed into a third substance, right? Put it through a chemical process. It's a drug now. That's literally what drugs are. Cocaine, coca leaves, heroin, poppy plants, right? Marijuana, dabs. It's the same thing. You'll never convince me otherwise. You never convince me otherwise. That's so crazy to me that people like don't think of it as drugs because weed's not addictive. Hello, you just made weed into drugs. This medicine, this plant that you've been speaking so highly of, you just turned it into drugs. For what reason? For what reason? For what reason? To get fucked up, to get so high that you're out of your fucking mind. Yeah, it's a drug. Why would you do that? It's weed. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's way too potent. It's like unhumanly potent. It's like dangerously potent. Your heart starts racing. You think you got out of the hospital. I'm not pretending like I never did wax. I never took an ab. I did several, probably 100 times back in the day because other people were doing it. So they'd be like, you want a dab? And I'd be like, yeah, sure, I love getting high. And then it'd be like, way too fucking high. Way too fucking high. And guess what? I did it again and again and again. even though every fucking time it was uncomfortable. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? That's crazy. Um, I don't think it's about being built different when it comes to like the fact that it's drugs. It doesn't matter if like, okay, I can handle the high and I don't get scared and I don't freak out and I don't wanna. That's because you're used to it, homie. You know how many people do heroin and say, I got so sick, I was throwing up, I couldn't move, it was horrible, and then they get addicted to it anyway. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely the same thing. I don't think anyone benefits from it. That's the point I got to. Being, because I quit 2 years ago. Well, more like a year and a half ago. I don't think it's really beneficial. You know, you can snort heroin, fine, but yeah, I'm also needlephobic. It's not my thing, not my scene. I'm glad nobody's out here shooting weed. Yeah, crazy. And I do smoke cigarettes. And you said nicotine's so addictive, but I smoke one or less cigarettes a day. So it's not really that addictive. It's more of a habit thing. And it's like me replacing the weed because I like smoking. So when I smoked weed, I didn't smoke cigarettes. I mean, there was a time in my life I did everything: drugs, weed, and cigarettes, and alcohol, and everything. But um, that's a huge one. That's a huge one. Same. I would let people smoke in my car because my car smelled like cigarettes, and then we worked really hard to get rid of the cigarette smell. And once it finally stopped smelling like cigarettes, I said, "No one is smoking in my car ever again. Never. Not me. Not no one. No smoking in my car." That is a big one. Not smoking inside too. So yeah, yeah. Cigarettes are not that addictive to me. In fact, sometimes I smoke. Well, that's the thing. I smoke half at a time. So some days I have half a cigarette in the afternoon and half a cigarette at night, and that's it for the day. And then some days I only have half a cigarette at night, and then some days I don't smoke. It just depends on what I got going on that day. And then sometimes when I smoke, I'm like, ugh, I didn't really like that. And I wish I would quit because if I'm only smoking one cigarette or less a day, why do it at all? Like, it's so minimal, anyways. What's the point? I ask myself that all if I could die. I don't know. I just like it, I guess. And then, like I said, half the time I don't like it. It doesn't feel good and I don't like it. But I keep doing it. And again, it's because I miss being able to just smoke weed. But I can't. I don't think I'll ever go back. I think there'll be occasions in certain people that I would smoke with, you know, in my lifetime. Not like anything I'm planning, just like if it ever came up, I would do it. But it's just not worth it to me to risk my mental health. But I didn't believe it to be poisonous when I consumed it. And I don't even think my one cigarette or less a day is poisonous either, because I give myself enough time between smoking for my body to heal in many ways. And it's very minimal damage it's doing. I was doing way more damage smoking weed. It's funny because I have a friend who smokes a lot, and she's like always trying to quit smoking weed because it's so bad for her. So she'll like she tries to get into eating edibles, but she's in the same boat. She likes smoking, and she was like, "Yeah, like I just worry about my teeth." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Smoking is bad for your teeth. It's bad for your lungs. It's bad for everything. There's still tar in weed. It's still tar in your lungs. It's still tar in your mouth." And I was like, "Yo, I like never considered that. I never thought smoking weed was bad for me." Like, in that way, you know? I know you're not supposed to have smoke in your lungs, for sure. But I never like thought about the fact that it is damaging to the teeth and the lungs. I mean, can you? It's not nice. Because I also thought that the additives were the worst part of the tobacco. But it's like, no, actually, like weed is also bad. Weed is also bad. And so I was doing way more damage smoking weed all day, every day, than I do with my one cigarette a day. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. It's crazy. I feel like I'm really healing from not smoking weed. Nuts. Being high is not that great to me. That's crazy. If she saw this, she would know that you're talking about her. If he saw this, he would also know you're talking about her. But that is crazy and sad. And like, yeah, that's really important to me. It's interesting too because what's going on with the Zins? Zins are pure nicotine. There's no tobacco in them. So it does it affect your mouth the same way as dip or pouches do? I don't know. I'm very curious about that, but Zins I feel like are so new that we don't really have the research on them. But I do wonder how that works. If it's just pure nicotine, like, are you still gonna get jaw cancer? And what's interesting too, dips and pouches go in the bottom lip. Zins go in the top. And so I'm like, okay, if having tobacco sitting here can cause jaw cancer and like people get their whole fucking shit removed, like what does that mean for up here? Is that also like could you possibly be getting cancer here and getting this part of your mouth removed? Is it even possible to remove that part of your mouth? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, but we know the short-term effects of vaping. Vaping is horrible. I quit vaping too. I'm very anti-vaping. I don't think I'm anti-weed. I think I worry about people who smoke weed. Because I did love it and it served me for the time that I had it. And I do wish that I could be like a normal person who just smoked weed and was fine. But I know a lot of people who like struggle in the same ways that I do, who continuously smoke weed and tell themselves that weed helps them feel better. And I'm like, it is not helping you feel better. It's not helping you feel better. Like, you need to wise up a little bit and realize like it's not helping you feel better. But vaping, I think, is like the worst thing you can do to your body. And I hate it. And I get upset when I think about the people that I love vaping, especially as much as someone does vape. And I did vape. Okay, then go. I literally don't care. I didn't even want to be having this conversation and I'm entertaining it anyways. You know what I mean? I came on here to talk about Britney Spears. You keep bringing shit up, I'm gonna say how I feel. If I feel like judging, then call me God, because that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. And I am gonna tell people what I think they should do. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I am gonna judge people who vape. You're literally, you might give yourself popcorn lung and never be able to fucking breathe again. That's crazy. You should quit vaping. Like, I don't think you vape. Like, I'm not saying you personally. But yeah, I think everybody should quit vaping. And I did vape. And I did quit. And cigarettes helped me quit. But I was vaping like all day, every day, versus having my half a cigarette every few hours, days, or whatever. So like, yeah, no, vaping sucks. Vaping is so bad. And aside from the health aspect of vaping, the environmental impact. Is this a fucking joke? Is this a fucking joke? You're putting fucking, what are they called? LED lights and the screens, whatever kind of screens they are, and batteries in a piece of plastic that's going to get thrown out in a week. Are you mocking us at this point? Are you mocking us at this point? And the people who are doing it, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You know? Like, it's so sad. It's so sad. Because those things can blow up, you know? And people are just throwing them in the trash. And it's depressing as fuck. Because we already have a trash problem. We already have a recycling problem. We already have a plastic problem. We already have a consumer problem. And then this. The vapes, right? And the breeze was one thing, it's a stick of plastic and a battery, and that's not good. But these geek bars and Mr. Vapors and whatever with the digital screen on them, like, why? Why? Why do you need that? And not to mention, when nicotine vapes came around, they had those disposable cigarette ones. Remember? I remember my first time buying one, and I was like, this is kind of cool, but it's not a cigarette, and I just never really did it again. And then they had the phase where they got really popular, and they had reusable, refillable, rechargeable vapes. And that's like, all right, that's fine. You buy one battery, you buy some juice, whatever. Now, are y'all fucking stupid? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? We don't have, who cares? It's not meant to be easy. You know, like, if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. And the thing is, they made it too fucking easy. And they put them everywhere. And then you hear, oh, they're gonna ban vapes, they're gonna ban vapes. I fucking wish they would. I wish they would. I wish they would. And let me tell you, Cherry Cola Breeze is delicious. But I can never go back. I have one, actually, unopened. My last vape. Have I hit a vape since then? Yeah. Somebody's got a new flavor, I'm like, oh, I'll try it. And then I'm like, fuck, nicotine is so good. And then I'm over it, and I don't do it again. For weeks, for months, whatever. I always kind of felt that way too. But I smoke, and I don't really have like a slow death wish. Because I don't really smoke that much. I think if I was smoking a pack a day, I might feel like, okay, sure, gearing up. I don't think it's that deep for some people. A lot of people start vaping because they want to quit smoking. Just smoke. Just smoke. Even a doctor will tell you that. Just fucking smoke. Just smoke. Crazy. Totally crazy. Anyway. I sound so prude. I sound like evangelical or something. Being like, oh, it's so bad. No, I was fucking literally drinking last night. I'm not against substances necessarily. I just don't even think, like, I don't know. I don't really have an addictive personality, though. Like, I can do drugs and just not do them anymore, you know? Or had phases when I was really young where I was, like, doing it a lot, and then, you know, I never went to rehab, right? Because it was like, oh, I quit. Might be rough couple weeks, couple months or whatever, but quit. And then might even do it. Pop out, do it again, and then be done. And it's like, whatever. You know, like, okay, whatever. So I can't really relate to that. But that's why I'm like, yo, weed kind of addictive because I did get pretty addicted to it. And I don't get addicted to anything. Or just stop watching stoner comedy movies. That's actually hilarious. But totally real. Totally real. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not against weed necessarily. I'm very against what's happened to weed. And the fact that it's so strong and it's so processed and it's so ridiculous and it's so drugs. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, that is what it is. It's become drugs. I don't think it's like the stoner's fault. And I don't even think it's probably not like that everywhere. Because weed's not legal everywhere. So you're not just going to the dispensary and picking out how much THC do you want type thing. But yeah, I think it's causing mental health crises and making people crazy. Yeah, I do think that. I've seen it in action. Right. But the weed used to be like 5% THC. So that's why we had it. Now it's like 25 plus. 25 is like a low end. That's crazy. We don't need that much. Nobody needs that much. We don't need that much. But that is part of the problem with like Gloria, right? Is they were like, yo, fuck them up. Fuck them up. Fuck them up. Fuck them up. You know what I mean? I knew this girl, and I really shouldn't talk about her business, but she hates me. So what do I care? It's not like I'm saying her fucking name. She took a lot of pharmaceuticals. She was on probably 5 different medications and smoked weed. And then still would freak out. This is what's crazy. I used to eat 60 milligrams of edibles sitting just because. I wouldn't even pass out. I would just be like, I'd eat 20 milligrams, and then I'd be like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a third one because I'm not really feeling it. When I say I was a stoner, like, I know what I'm talking about. And then I ate a homemade edible, and it was too much, and that's when it switched for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can't get high anymore. Actually, that wasn't the moment I thought I can't get high anymore. It was smoking several times after that I was like, okay, it's ruined now. But then I realized, like, damn, like, my mental health is so much better. Like, I feel like I'm not even, like, a crazy person anymore. It's nuts. And I started smoking when I was so young that it's like I never knew a life different in a way, you know. But, this chick took a lot of pharmaceuticals, like prescription medication for her mental health, and smoked weed on top of it, and would still freak out, and still have mood swings, and still have episodes, and would still be paranoid and not trust people, and get angry, and all this other stuff. And it's like, that to me says a lot. We're like, yeah, you might be on the wrong meds, but maybe you stop smoking weed. You want to be on some right fucking meds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people are indoctrinated into it, and people don't think that's weird. I knew this girl, like, the first time they smoked crack was with their family. And, like, that's so sad. Why would you not give your kids a chance? Like, what the fuck? Crazy. And I thought I was too young. Smoking weed at 14 was too young, in retrospect. Probably fucking ruined my life, quite honestly. And that's not everyone. Some people are super successful with smoke weed. It's not for everyone. I also was doing way more than smoking weed at that age, you know? So to be that young, it's just like you never know a life without it. It's so fucking sad to me. So sad. But back in the day, once again, the weed was like chill, you just get a little high or whatever. That's fine. But nowadays, I do think the problem lies with the evolution of the weed and not weed itself and not getting high itself, you know? So, yeah, but, yeah. I also have always said, like, I can't trust anyone who doesn't smoke weed because they're all narcs. Look at me now. What am I supposed to do? Can't smoke weed. Can't smoke weed. Sucks. So, yeah. I was really awake when I started the stream, and now I'm starting to get tired, which I think is a good thing. But I do have to go, and I didn't even get to talk about Britney Spears, but anybody who did want to talk about Britney Spears isn't here anymore. So maybe next time, maybe tomorrow, not sure. Definitely not this late tomorrow because I got stuff to do Friday. Alcohol and cigarettes, I told you. I drank. I was drinking last night. I was drinking the night before that. Drinking the night before that. Drinking the night before that. I just don't like. I had a phase where I was getting drunk every week. Sometimes more than once a week. Like when I first quit smoking and was hanging out with like party people. Now I'm a chiller, more casual drinker where I'll get tipsy at the most and then come down and be done. You know, alcohol helps me sleep way better than weed does. Alcohol, I'll be like, okay, time for bed. Oh, I'm awake again. And it's 8 hours later, you know, like alcohol is the shit for that. That's interesting. I don't love blue Gatorade. I don't hate it either. Coca-Cola, and red wine, very delicious. Very good. Actually, that's a great idea. I haven't had it in years. I should do that. Might try your thing. I might try that. Probably helps with the wine headache. It's an interesting thought. It's probably a pretty color too. Is that a 50 1-to-1 ratio? Yeah, my mentor back in the day, she came up with this when she was in college, I think, or something. Her grad people, whatever, I don't know. She's really smart. They would get a bottle of Rex Goliath and a can of Coca-Cola. And I don't know if you know this, but there is a rooster on the bottle of Rex Goliath. And so they called it Cock and Coke. Hell yeah, it's so good. Oof, I would never add sugar to wine. Couldn't do it. But yeah, I have to roll ads in like 7 minutes anyway, so I'm just gonna go. We made it to 2 hours though. That's crazy because I was like thinking I was gonna stream for 30 minutes, hop off. Thanks for chatting with me. It was a little irritating because you entirely controlled the conversation. But it's also fun to chat with people so that I'm not just talking to myself on here. And sometimes people chatting with me keeps me on track for the conversation. You, however, did not. It's probably all that fucking weed you smoke. I'm just playing. I haven't had as many viewers. I shouldn't say I haven't in a long time because I have, but the last stream I did, I don't think I had this many viewers. So thanks for being here, lurkers. Appreciate ya. Hope it was fun. I'm sure everybody's kind of judging me right now. Or maybe they're thinking twice about their own health and habits. Right? That's always possible. I hope next time that I get to talk about Britney Spears. Although, super riveting conversation about Sylvia Plath. I think more people should consider her death a murder and not a suicide. Personal opinion. Seems to only be my opinion. I have yet to come across that theory anywhere. So, time for bed. Good night. I don't know when I'll be back. Like I said, maybe tomorrow. I don't have a lot going on tomorrow. I have to be home all day, but I have to get up early Friday, so I can't be up this late. But also, I was too busy to start streaming earlier tonight, which is why it ended up being such a late night. So I usually don't start streaming quite this late, so might be on tomorrow. It would be ideal if I was, but not sure. So, oh my God, Landon, hi, I'm leaving. You missed it. But you, Landon, as a history buff, Sylvia Plath, like, did she really kill herself? Because I personally don't think she did. Something to think about. And on the next stream, I want to talk about Britney Spears and her memoir. But I was derailed I didn't get to. People were asking me questions. And I also talked about Sylvia Plath for a long time instead of Britney Spears. The relevancy is that I haven't cried so much reading a book as I did reading Britney Spears' memoir, as I have since I read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. That was the connection. But then we talked about AI and shit, and he's probably a fucking fed on here just siphoning information on me, getting my opinion on things, gonna hold it against me, whatever. I don't know. How can you trust anyone on the internet, especially a bunch of faceless people that you don't know, who have nothing to lose on these apps? Whatever. All right. Love you all. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time, whenever that may be, considering it's almost been 2 weeks since my last stream. Ta-ta for now.